So you have worked with Richard on several projects. What was it like hearing about this one and being a part of such a passion project for him?
Well, I knew he was onto something really special. You know, I mean, if you know him well, you know the way his brain works. He's kind of always been obsessed with time. I mean, when we started talking about Boyhood for the first time, it was in the context of working on Before Sunset. We were writing Before Sunset, and in the early stages, like 2 years or something before we made Before Sunset, and Rick was thinking about, you know, I mean, time is clay. Like, how do you, if the beautiful thing about the Before trilogy is that the movies have a cumulative power because of time, the power of time, and how profound it is, because it's the one currency all of us are using all the time, and we only have so many days, right? I mean, and so he was just kind of riffing about how he could, wouldn't it be interesting to make a short film through the course of the 12 years of high school, of grade school, you know? All of us, our memories first start piecing together around 5 or 6, you know, where you start being able to remember days in order. There's just, before that it's usually impressions, you know? And as he just started talking about it, I remember just being like, you have to make this movie. Now the trouble is, you can't contract anyone to do something for 12 years. How are you gonna get the movie financed? Because they're not gonna make their money back for 15 years. Who the hell would want to see such a movie? Even there's a lot of, good, I'm glad you want to, but you know, there's a lot of
Interesting variables.
Yeah. You know, that make it seem impossible. What if the kid quits? What if the kid moves? What if the kid's dad gets a job in Cleveland? You know, I mean, you know, but we found a way around them all, and now we have the movie.
Time almost feels like a character in his films as well.
It is.
Which is really fascinating.
And if you think about it, it's not just the before, and it's not just, Slacker is actually all about a living moment. You know, the camera's just time continuous from person to person. A movie we did, Tape, is almost like a surveillance. It's time continuous.
Absolutely.
Waking Life is almost a whole movie that takes place over 3 seconds. It's like going into our dreamscape. I mean, the speeding up and slowing down of time is something that cinema can do, and something that Rick has been excited to use as his...
Masterful at it.
Yeah.
So while this was, you know, a very deliberate, over a 12-year span, there was still this tension. I did not think things were gonna end well. It was just building, and every scene I was like, oh God, what's gonna happen? What elements do you think kind of instilled that feeling in me and the audience?
You know, I think it's the way most of us feel about our actual present life. Like, I hope I don't get in a car crash tonight. I mean, how is this film going to go? I mean, is my mother going to get really angry at that party? Is Susan going to drink too much again? You know, most of our daily life is full of so much anxiety about the next moment. It's why people say, how come I couldn't enjoy my vacation as much when I was on it as I do when I look at the photos? It's because when the photos, you were worried the kids are going to get sunburned. You were worried that the so-and-so's stomach flu wasn't going to go. You know, we get caught up in the minutia of our life. And I think the movie succeeds at doing that. You're constantly feeling like something horrible is going to happen. Because that's how we go through our lives, worried about other things. You know, what's that great John Lennon line, life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans?
Good quote.
So this movie's kind of exploring that.
Yeah. And one scene that I loved so much was the camping scene, where you had, you know, this fatherly advice, and I was curious if there was a piece of advice that was given to you early on in your career that has really stuck with you.
You know, I used to obsessively read a lot of interviews. Like, I would read all Spike Lee's interviews, or I would read all Sean Penn's interviews, or you know, he hardly gives them anymore, but, you know, anytime Denzel would give an interview, or, and I didn't feel like, you know, nobody in my family knew jack about the arts, you know, or especially acting. So I would always look for it in other people. Al Pacino would sometimes say something really beautiful in an interview, and But advice, the best advice that I ever got was on Dead Poets Society. You know, the director of that movie was Peter Weir, who was kind of what Robin Williams' character, Mr. Keating, was. You know, Peter Weir was our real life Mr. Keating. And he used to always talk about and not taking any of the ancillary elements of this profession seriously. You know, that what you can keep doing is keep trying to contribute. And that's really all you're in control of, is your attempt. You know, you don't have control over how people react to things, but you have control over what effort you put forward.
Oh, Captain, my Captain, one of my favorites.
Exactly.
Well, this was a really special film, and you were fantastic, and we can't wait to have it on our screens. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having me.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC movie talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.